We're recording, so it is what it is. You better have your beer ready. We're transitioning, and it's welcome back to the Counter-Strike Casuals podcast. Oh, the sound. And even Diz is joining you today with a sexy Gwalsh. I've got a joke. I've got an ongoing thing about Gwalsh, which basically when I used to live in North London, I lived above a convenience shop, like a little corner shop, and they used to sell Gwalsh £1 a can. So after work, in my non-married and non-children era, I would go down and I'd buy a couple of Grolschers, and it became a pound a can, and it became known as the guy that drinks £1 cans of Grolsch every night. It's a bit sad, I must admit, but it's stuck with me. So when I see a Grolsch, I feel quite attached to it, even though I don't even know if it's a good beer or not. But anyway,
do you like it?
I like it. Always hits the spot with me.
I mean, for a quid, you can't moan, can you?
They're not a quid round here, mate. Not anymore. Inflation. Anyway. All right, so we're back. Listen, we're going to start this podcast a bit differently. Usually we get into like a bit of structured news and we talk about, this team, that team, whatever. It almost is like EastEnders with the rosters at the moment. So let's start with the current state of Counter-Strike 2 and how this might be more a segment for me because I've been playing a lot. You've been busy. You've been doing actual adult stuff and being a real casual, but I've been sweating it out with a friend and we've been playing a lot. There's been a few updates as well. The main update or the main change that I've noticed since I've been playing recently. Sorry, I've got some wind, guys, because I'm not used to drinking beers on the podcast anymore. I'm out of practice.
It's going to be a disgusting podcast. I've got a cough, but I'm going to use my little cough button.
Your mute button. Also, if anyone notices, our fonts, if you watch the video, are different because we've had some technical issues. Never let Diz drink beers. Right, so they made some changes to the ranking system, right? And everyone who's playing Counter-Strike, if there's anyone that's listening and they play, hit us up. Tell us what you think to the new changes to this, right? So where they basically have upped the levels of a win. So it used to be when we first started, and in beta, it was like 350, I think like 375 was the max ever got for a win. But when you lost, you'd get like the same. I think it was like even for even. You'd like fucking, if you lost like 3 in a row, you were proper down. I think I went to like 1,500 rank, which is just mental. It's mental. You just have like a bad run. You just drop so far off the face of the earth. You might as well just uninstall. So what they've done now is just gone the complete other way, and they updated it last night. We're recording this on a Tuesday evening. They updated last night, and since then it seems that they've softened it a bit. Like the game I just had before I jumped on here, we won, and I got 700 for a win. But before that, and the night before, me and my friend were getting 900, 950 for a win. It's just absolutely mental. So we're jumping up pretty much nearly a whole rank for a win from whatever, like 8,000 to 9,000. The losses as well were only 100 for me yesterday. Today they're a bit stronger. They're like 200. So I don't know. The new rank change, basically what I think is happening as well in the games I was playing just then, and I shared my screen so you could see it a bit and we talked about it briefly. Whilst I was getting 700, 800 a win, these ranks are inflated in a way because you get like 3 or 4 wins on the trot and you're just way above your pay station probably. And the guys I was playing with them were abysmal, like doing proper basic stuff badly. And I'm not saying I'm good at all, but these guys were bad. Like they felt 2 or 3 ranks below me in terms of the game sense and the stuff they were doing. So they still need to work on this in the current state of the game, because I feel like this is so important for, especially for us, that our casual kind of sphere. We play a lot of this kind of premier ranked game. That's our go-to, isn't it? Usually we'll do a bit of like effing around, but we're not pushing face it really sweaty. I think casual now is actually determined by probably premier more than anything, because we're not pushing face it rank really hard. We're not caring too much about all that. And so the premier rank is like a nice overall like insight into, I think, quite a casual player space actually. The more I think about it, the more I play it. But they need to find some balance. You can't have a win and then go from 8 to 900,000, like a whole jump up on the sphere. It needs to be. So I was thinking about this. In an ideal world, I think it needs to be probably 500, 400 a win, and then like 150 a loss.
I think I think the whole system's pretty fucked, to be honest with you, because like you said, I'll be playing
The
with
world's
people that are
fucked.
like higher rank, and you're just like, what? Where? How the fuck has this guy even got a rank? Like they just play like bots, but it's like I don't think it should be based on wins and losses, to be honest with you. Like, of course, that should be a factor, but they should also take, which I assume they do, but not very much, but how you play. Like, if you play shit, if your rating's bad, or you
Like the
know,
KD or damage or what?
no, not just necessarily the KD. I mean, they look into lots of things. I imagine, the amount of data and
Yeah, but what
details
do
they
you
have.
think it should be based on? What would you?
You know, mate. I mean, you'd have to have you'd have to spend a lot of time looking into it. Like, I don't think you can just say, right, it's just based on kills or damage, or it's. I think
I want you to fix the
there's like
game right
there's
now,
small
really.
details. There's small details though that like more stats that they could look into. Like if you're like opening kills or
Yeah,
using like in Valorant, I think they do something to do with the abilities. Like you use an ability that does something or causes you a win.
like utility
Which
damage and
yeah, I mean, so I don't know what extent kind of Counter Strike can go into, but if you're saying like util correctly, like if you're actually throwing a flash and it's actually flashing someone, or throwing a HE and it's actually doing damage, or I don't know, all these little things they could that could throw into rank systems.
well, they do an average combat rating, don't they? Which is like your kills, assists, I think utility damage, all of that kind of averages out to make like an overall, well, they call it combat rating, I think is what it was. So, and again, it's been a while since I played Valorant, but that's what I think it was. So if you and me were playing and I just got all the kills, but you had done more plants, more damage, not far off the same amount of kills, you would actually be MVP, I think. Like if you just done more
yeah,
work in the game. So that is definitely. I mean, it must be easy to these things. I mean, look at like HLTV, how these guys track this stuff. It must be easy for
yeah, I think so. I mean, if you really wanted to and you really looked
if you
into it,
cared about.
yeah, I'm sure there is small details, like even to the point of like utilizing a smoke in a decent way, or holding off a retake or whatever.
Yeah, definitely. Which is the important
So I think
stuff.
all that kind of stuff, obviously, KD as well, damage, obviously take everything into account, but it shouldn't just be win or lose. Like, oh, you won, here you go, here's all the points. Bottom frag,
Mm.
did fuck all. And by the sounds of your last game, I was just listening to you finish your last game. They could also take comms into
Yeah,
account.
how are you gonna? How would you measure comms? That's definitely one thing. Yeah.
Maybe they could do like the audio, like I don't know. They could measure the
They'd have to have
audio,
an
like
individual person watching or AI. We got to introduce AI into this. Well, the last game was mad because there's people just die and they wouldn't say anything. So it was just she had no info, no idea what was happening. She had to guess.
yeah, it's
Um,
probably my biggest bug about playing, really, but it's a
well,
casual life, isn't it?
it is the casual life, and we ride till we die in the casual life. But I think you're right. Right, what you're saying is that would be a good way to do it. So, what would we want to see from them moving forward now that they're getting to the game to a state of, I would say personally, and again, I am playing a lot more. It's the main game I play. I'm playing as much as I can, and taking it pretty seriously when I'm actually playing Premier, and sweating a bit. They've got the game to a point where it feels pretty playable. Like in my opinion, it's not that different to CS:GO anymore. It looks better. It feels actually better to me. There's still I fought some slight movement issues, but I think I watched the War Owl released a video recently. I don't know if this answers everything, right? But it still felt like sometimes you would almost glide across the map a bit. Like if you kind of try to jiggle peek, you might go out from a box and then almost glide back in. And actually, again, if you ask Ambitions, who our mutual friend who I've been playing with, we were watching each other's screen and it would happen to each other and we'd be like, did you see that? Or was that just like me being laggy my end? And he's like, no, I saw that. And the one thing that War was kind of taking from his video, I think, got a bit technical for us. Again, he's a professional content creator, we are a casual content creator, so all this stuff is way above our pay grade. But what I think he was saying is he was suggesting CS2 is actually more consistent than CSGO, because when you're in a server with, say, 4 or 5 people with higher ping, you actually match to their ping, even if it's not your ping your end. So what you're receiving back from the server reflects more on what's happening in the actual, like with everyone else, I think was what I was taking from his video. But generally, those kind of weird moments where I'm like, oh, I keep saying skating, like I skated from out of cover into cover. They only happen like once per game. So I can live with that because the rest feels really nice to me. Personally, I think I like the graphics, the maps look great, the spray's all fine. To me, absolutely not. And I really enjoy the new meta guns, or the guns that work better. The MP9 on CT side feels fucking brilliant. The 5.7 as a pistol is a lot of fun to use. The Galil and Mac 10 are great.
What's like your new favourite weapon?
MP9 on CT, 100%. It's just fucking quality, and like you can hold a sight with an MP9 and a nade without a shadow of doubt. Like you can just hold it down on your own. It feels great. Obviously close. I mean, if you're trying to take them down at mid on Inferno or something, it's not gonna happen. But if they're rushing you and they're pushing you with an MP9, mate, come at me. I'll take you all down.
So I saw one of those little kind of TikTok things. This was on Instagram, but it's a TikTok type vibe where they asked the pro players CS2 or CSGO. I think they were pro players, and majority of them said CSGO.
CSGO, yeah, because they're shit at CS2.
And I think this is really common. It's like you were just saying, everyone's kind of shitting on CS2 and everyone's heading more towards CSGO. But I think it's one of those. It's like the grass is always greener. Everyone wanted CS2. Everyone wants it. They get it. Oh, they're all moaning because it needs updates. Of course, it needs updates. It's a new game, and they're updating it. They keep improving it, and a lot of people agree that it has improved and it is improving. But people still like to moan. And at the end of the day, if you're on CS:GO and something happened, like someone got a massive peak as an advantage, you wouldn't start blaming the game because the game's been out for 10 years. You'd just be like, fuck's sake.
Oh, shit.
But because it's a new game, it's like, oh, the game's fucked. The game's fucked. It's the game's fault. So it was quite interesting that Waral did this video, because he's kind of proving a lot of what people are saying. He's kind of proving them wrong. He basically said if ping matters a lot, and if you've got a high ping, then you're gonna get worse peak as an advantage.
You're gonna get fucked.
Yeah.
Actually, when you break it down like that, it's actually quite a simple video. Someone with high ping peaks you, they're gonna lag round a corner and take your head off. It's basically was the gist of it. Interesting. I actually think we should apologise to Waral. Not that they'll ever listen or hear this, but we were secretly moaning that Waral doesn't put many videos out, and we feel like we're superior because we put a lot of shit content. The difference is quality. So his video, he made 2 maps from scratch on CSGO and CS2. He ran tests to work out the numbers and the percentage of peakers advantage on each one. I'm sitting here drinking a Grolsch on my weekly podcast with you.
Well, I'm telling you what, we don't get paid a penny for this podcast. He does. If this was our full-time job...
You're saying you do better content than Waral?
Yes.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. Do you know what? I'm playing devil's advocate. We fucking would. And I tell you what, I would have made 3 maps. I would have made a map on Valorant, a map on CSGO, and CS2. And done
so fuck you, Waral.
Now we're stuck.
The guy's a legend. He makes really good videos, but yeah, he doesn't do loads.
We just want to see more. It's out of love.
He does it on purpose. I'm sure of it. So he releases content, short videos. He doesn't want to do long videos because he knows people don't want that. our attention spans, especially gamers, our attention span is very short.
As we're about to record another 40-minute podcast. Yes, go on.
Yeah, and he also doesn't do too many because he doesn't want people to get bored of him, and he would run out of content as well. Like his whole thing is based on
The
one
actual
game.
game.
Yeah, and he's not talking shit like us. Like we do a podcast a week, and we always have topics to talk about, but now and again, some weeks can be quieter than others.
Mm. He's always
And he
talking about
wants
the
to
real
do fun,
mechanics
fun
and
topics, and
yeah.
yeah.
But we
So
just
I get it. I like the way he does it. I think it's the right way to do it for his audience, definitely.
I agree. Anyway, right. So that was a side homage to Warel. Um, now the game is, in my opinion, I keep saying that, um, a good state. I think it's good. It's fine, right? I think it's time to see something more. So I think we need. I don't know whether that's a new mode back, whether it's what danger zone back. Would you play?
Retakes.
Would you retakes? What would we want? What would you want?
I'd like to dabble on all of the gun
You love
games. When
retakes though.
it's
Retakes surely would be your one.
retakes is like, yeah, my little warm up. I would like to do more. It's just most of the time I'm playing with you, and that's just
And
not an
straight
option.
straight into the
It's
fire, baby.
yeah, all or nothing with you.
We're focusing up. We're focusing up. This is what I said to my wife the other day, right? A little side note again. Maybe it's the beer. I said to my wife, got home from work, really long day, stressed out, not in a good mood. It's like a Wednesday, right? And we're in England. If you're listening abroad, we've got overseas listeners, and it's dark. It's I'm leaving in the morning. It's dark. Getting home, it's dark. Anyway, get home. I'm in a bad mood. So what's the problem? So I'm fucking angry. It's a long day at work. Loads of shit happening. Everything's a grind. It's like a grind day of grinding out my life at work in the office. I get home. I want a game. What am I going to game? I'm going to game Counter Strike. I'm going to grind out a rank. I'm going to keep grinding Premier. It's just like, well, why are you doing that? Why can't you just like play a game and enjoy it? I was like, woman, I'm grinding rank.
Get back in the kitchen.
I just said, I'm grinding rank. It's a grind, and that's what I want to do. So
Yeah, I saw a meme the other week, and it was like, I need some time gaming to like escape reality and just like chill out for a bit, and then we go and play a really competitive like shooting
stressful
game.
game where you just get
Yeah,
angry at each other and just anyway. So yeah, so back to what we're saying. What we'd like to see. Okay, it's time for something new. I think Counter Strike needs it now. I think they've got it into the place where it's playable. We're all happy. It clearly works in the professional scene as well. I think retakes would be a great shout to bring back in now. That's a great warm up mode. Would we play Danger Zone? If they bought Danger Zone now, would you go and play Danger Zone?
yeah,
I
I
think.
would, and I think a lot of the newer players that have come over since CS2 came out, like we've had some friends that have wanted to play with us. I think they would play that mode and enjoy that mode if they brought it out.
Well, so yes, and interesting you bring them up because we basically played with some friends of ours who haven't really played Counter Strike. We're trying to get them into it. Really, this is simplest way to put it.
They're all Source players.
They played Source and then they never played CS:GO, and played a lot of COD and stuff. So it'd fit the COD narrative, wouldn't it, with the Warzone? But that's what I'm saying. If you brought Danger Zone back, I think Danger Zone would need to be a bit bigger.
I liked the concept of it, but it was
It felt a bit too tight, didn't it?
it was. Um,
You get to one side
you
of the
need
map and
some
the other
very
very
little
quickly.
tweaks. No, not that quick. You'd die probably.
Well,
But I like the concept of it. Like it's different. It's got to be different because of the style of Counter Strike. But yeah, I liked it. If you give it time, like when I first played it, I was a bit like I'm not too sure. Played a few more. I was like, oh, actually, it can be pretty fun. Like as long as you don't think of it as Counter Strike and you don't think of it as like a normal battle royale,
yeah.
if you can like separate those two games, which is exactly what it is,
Mm.
if you were describing it to someone, but if you can separate those two things and just let it be its own thing, it's actually not a bad game.
Yeah, I don't disagree.
A
The
weird
idea
way.
of like getting the money and ordering in some supplies and stuff, that's pretty cool. With the CS mechanics. I can't remember how frequent you'd get like an AK or an M4 or like the OP guns.
Not not that often, from what I remember. But what I liked is like you still. It's like playing like COD, for example, but you've like different mechanics.
With
Like
actual good mechanics.
you would have
With
to aim
actual
ahead
shooting.
and stuff,
Yeah.
and it would be really beneficial if you have good aim. So it is fun because you're hitting headshots with the pistol from like miles away, or yeah, it is enjoyable.
Yeah.
I felt like I don't know who was playing it. I felt like they were pretty noobs, but maybe it's because I didn't play it very often. I was low rank or something.
I think we were quite low rank. I remember playing it. Yeah, I think yeah, we dabbled, didn't we? Okay, so we'd have wingman, not wingman, danger zone back. I'd play danger zone. I wouldn't mind a bigger map, slightly bigger, slightly. It's not like COD size, obviously, because you need a whole new hard drive for that. I don't need that for Counter Strike, but a bit bigger. I definitely one last thing on this point, and I made it in the notes. You would have seen it. An unranked competitive mode. What I mean by that is, I mean we should be able to queue for the active map pool, diffuse map pool. So dust, not dust two, sorry, all the ones in Premier, the Premier map pool. It's 5v5. It's competitive rules, but no rank, and it's not like the competitive where you choose the maps and you get a rank on the map. No rank, no rank. So the new guys we were playing with recently, and we had them on a server, and we because we did a 3v3 effectively a competitive, didn't we? We set a server up, our own server, the Counter Strike casual servers. Hit us up if you want to play, right? And we changed it to a competitive mode. And because there was 6 of us, we did 3v3, but it was competitive mode, wasn't it? We went in different discords, so it was unranked 3v3. It's so annoying that we don't have that in CS, I think, and that is the one thing Valorant does well.
Do we not?
No.
We used to play competitive on CS:GO, unranked.
Am I being fucking stupid? Do I need to load the game up right now? We could not have queued up with, let's say, four of us and played.
Well, what about when we had to 4 stack and you couldn't play Premier? You just played unranked.
We were playing on the map pool where you select the maps and you got a rank per map.
Right. So
That's not what I want. I don't want that. I don't want these. So let's say my brother. I don't have a brother. My brother who's never played Counter Strike. I'm saying, come play. We'll get into this together. You know, I'll show you the ropes. But what we want to do is we want to get straight into the competitive environment. I want to get him clued up on 5v5. I want to get him ready for Premier or Face It. But what I don't want to do, I don't want him to fuck my rank up. So what I want to do is I just want to play with him. We queue to
yeah,
two
yeah,
stack.
I get that. Is there not an unranked mode?
Well, the good thing about being your friend is I can see you've loaded up CS2, so you're going to tell me in about 2 minutes. But I'm pretty sure there isn't, and that is bizarre because they have it in Valorant. And I don't want to keep going about Valorant. And actually, we're not talking about Valorant for about 29 episodes, but there is some things you can steal from people if they do it better. And I don't want to queue for Dust 2 and Mirage or whatever we're doing in that one, and it affect my rank. Not that it really matters because I don't care about my ranks on those modes that much actually, so it wouldn't matter. But the idea is, why can't I have it? Why can't I have it as just a mode? It's a great mode. It's a great mode for any newbie, any casuals that just want to get back into it or get into it. Go on. He's on. For those not listening, for those that can't see you can't see what he's doing. He's on Counter Strike now. He's not checking. We're actually just gonna watch Burley play a game now.
Yeah, you can go on practice and go on competitive and play there. But yeah, you do choose a map. But so what? Like,
yeah, but there's a rank attached to that map.
this is on practice mode.
Practice mode is just bots, isn't it? Load it up as bots. Or it's like an empty server.
So you do have competitive on matchmaking, but I don't see the ranked. So maybe you're right, but they used to, didn't they?
What, in CS:GO? No.
In CS:GO, they had unranked.
Oh yes, sorry, because and they introduced short matches as well for it,
Yeah.
which is now the MR what we've got. Um, but this is what I'm saying. Like even the match rep, the MR13, MR12 stuff, that's all fine. We're adapting to that. The professional games don't seem stupid. The games we're playing don't seem stupid. The economy doesn't seem out of whack. So the game is at a point where it's feeling good. It's now time to introduce Danger Zone retakes and Danger Zone retakes and an unranked competitive mode. We're there. We're done. We're set for the next 10 years. I'll be playing the game till I'm 43, and my kids will start playing. We're done. And we'll have episode 3000 of the podcast.
Okay, so yeah, I'm sure that will come. They had it on CS:GO. I'm sure they'll bring it in, and I agree with you. I think it's something to do, but I'm not overly concerned about it, to be honest. But maybe I'm less arsed about my rank to be. Now I know this fucking system shit anyway.
The system's not shit, mate. We're gonna get after this. We're gonna go play one game. We're gonna get ranked up. Anyway, right. Listen. I spent 26 minutes talking about the state of CS2, which you would think would be a bad thing, but it's actually a good thing. So continue.
There's had a few beers, everyone. So pro scene, mate. What's going on in the pro scene?
I'll tell you what's going on in the pro scene. You really want to know what's going on in the pro scene? Furia won the Elisa Schmisa.
Oh yeah, I didn't watch loads of this, but I did whack it on during the final while I was doing other jobs around the house. I had it on in the background, and I felt like it was a good final. I felt like Apex and Furia were a good matchup. Like it was fairly even. I would have liked Furia just to roll them because I don't know why. I just want Furia to do well, not because I like the team or anything. I think I like the fans, the noise they make, the the. I feel like the whole South America are supporting them. So I do want Furia to be good.
I feel like with the emergence of complexity flying the flag for North America, we are ready for a South American Brazilian team to be doing well. Is what I think is what we're both feeling here. So seeing Furia do well, and more importantly, Que Serato, and probably Fallen as well for some extent. But Que Serato, he's living and dying in this bed that he turned down Liquid or whoever it was that he said he could have gone to. So it's like, you really could have done good things here, bro. You stayed at Furia, fair. Let's see it pay off. So them winning an event, that's good. It's good to see. My only caveat of this event, or the only fact that, Que Serato and has won something of note, even if that is something to say. Look at the event, man. Look at the event. Fnatic
I agree.
Were a mess. Complexity, we thought were going to give the best shot. I actually thought it would be Complexity maybe in the final. Anyway, Gamer Legion, Mouse, who are we're going to get onto, but it turns out have lost their best player. Ents that have just their first game with Glaive and Thingme as their coach.
I mean, Ents should have won this. I also
they shouldn't though. They've just got Glaive. They've just lost Snappy and Sort, so they had a new in-game media and a new coach. This is their first outing, so I don't think there would have been expectation for them to win it. But
mate, they lost against who? Havu.
Yeah, well, interesting. Havu with the surprise ticket of this whole event, and interestingly, right, they started this before the tournament. 122nd in the world. They're now ranked 20th after these wins.
Yeah, but I'll be honest, mate. They beat Gamer Legion and they beat Ents in a best of one, and that's it. Anyone can win a best of one.
And 13-6, yeah, 100%. You're right. Gamer Legion was best of 3. I mean, Gamer Legion have been performing really well recently. We're going to get onto them again as well in a minute because they did kind of dick out a bit.
I wouldn't say they're doing that well recently, but
then they lost to Furia 2-0, but they did well, Havu, man. Fair play to them.
But yeah, you're right. Fioria, yeah, well done, but it's nothing to write home about, is it? Really?
I don't think so. I think they also won 3-1. When you look at it, it's a best of 5. They actually,
And Apex did pretty well against them. Um, it was.
yeah. I mean, I wouldn't
It
have
wasn't
expected Apex to get this
like
far. I actually thought it was going to be Complexity and Mouse was going to be the final. That's what I thought leading into this. Both teams disappointed. So Furia and Apex did well to kind of pick up on that and get to the final, and Furia to win it.
yeah.
That's
Hopefully, it gives Fury a bit more confidence, and they start performing at other events as well.
well,
I would like to see them.
well. Again, interesting. You say that we might as well just quickly get into it because I think I put so I put Fallen and Art in my fantasy for the Bet Boom Dacha event that's going on at the moment because I was like, fuck it, let's ride the Furia hype. Let's be on a bit of a hype about them. I'm up for that. Let's do it. Actually, might as well just talk about the Bet Boom Dacha quickly while we're doing it because that started today. Again, I haven't had a chance to watch it. I've been at work all day. There's only been 2 games so far, which has been Cloud9 who beat Gamer Legion, and they beat Gamer Legion pretty comfortably, man. I think what was it, 5, 6, 7, 8. Gamer Legion got 8 rounds over 2 maps against Cloud9. So Cloud9 are looking fucking.
Yeah, they're still looking good.
They're looking
with
brilliant. Boomage coming into Cloud9 could be one of the signings of the latter end of the year. He looks so good. And with that in mind, I put him in my fantasy. I put Big Boom in my fantasy. And what Big Boom, and also what I found about fantasy, you know what happens with fantasy. I make my team and I think I'm gonna come back to this and set all my boosters and my rolls, and then I don't do it. So I've got no actual boosters or anything set up, and I've just got Big Boom leading the charge. The other result in Bet Boom Dacha was Bet Boom losing. So the team that the event is sponsored by, their sponsors, their owners, I guess, they lost. They lost to MIBR.
Yeah.
So another Brazilian team. And Bet Boom got 6 rounds over 2. The deciding game was Nuke, and MIBR won 13-1.
Yeah, I whacked this on again. I was
Oh
doing stuff. I was doing stuff while it was on, but I did notice Nafni and some of the other Bet Boom squad looked like they were arguing.
Oh, did they? Interesting.
Yeah, which to be fair, I
Well, you
think
would
I
if you
would
won
be.
one round.
Yeah, they got absolutely rolled. MIBR were looking good.
On Nuke as well. You should be able to steal some rounds on Nuke, man.
Yeah, they weren't getting on. Let's see. Kind of expected more from this squad, but
Well, what was the event they're at recently? Forgive me, podcast people, to quickly have a little look. They had a good little run recently at an event. I can't remember what it was. Was it the Parry?
A1 League, CCT Central Europe Series.
Or was it IEM City? I don't know. There was a game. There was an event recently where actually Bet Boom looked quite comfortable. Not comfortable. They looked like they were enjoying being together.
Well, to be honest, they've not played many decent teams. They beat Vitality in a best of 1, which was 16-14. So that was a CS:GO match. What am I looking at? But they've not really played anyone that's notable, to be honest with you. They lost against Movistar Riders. They lost against MIBR in the Paris as well. So they've not really played anyone. And to be honest, yeah, it's a bit of a flop, but I didn't really expect too much from this team, if I'm honest.
Fair enough. Well, tomorrow on the Bet Boom Dacha, we've got the debut of Scumstralis. So Scumstralis play VP. Any predictions?
It's a new team.
Astralis versus VP. Any predictions on who's going to win that?
Ooh,
So we're going to see Yabi and Stan in their first game for Astralis after all the controversy.
I think
I'm going for VP.
Astralis should win it, but I think VP will win it. I just think VP will be too organised and Astralis are too new.
Yeah, I think VP win it, but let's see. Now we've said
Or
that,
if
Yabi will probably top frag and Astralis is saved.
If Astralis win it, Astralis are gonna go on a roll.
Okay.
I wanna get to you. We'll do it later in the episode actually, but I wanna ask you a question later in the episode.
Fine. Then after that, we've got Furious Spirit. Okay.
Go on, you boy. Hype him up.
Oh my god. I mean, everyone is hyped about him. It is the most obvious person to be hyped about, but the fucking kid Donk, bro, is insane. This guy is so good at Counter-Strike. Like,
What's it with these Russians with like the long kind of hair, the long straight hair?
it's actually, I think he's actually cut that photo that's on it. I don't think it looks like that anymore. But listen, yeah, the guy is insane. He's so good. I watched a few games recently of his, not in this the recent one we played in, the one that they won, I think. There's a few other games where I was just like, I need to check Donk out, so just watch them, like online games. Mate, he's just one of those players where, like, even when you're in a round and you just look up and you see like 3 of your team die, he just comes through and kills 3 of theirs. So it's like levels the playing field like really instantly. And what I love about him, right, is that HLTV did an interview with him today, and I sent it to you. I was at work, and I was just like, catching up and stuff. And the geezers come across so arrogant, so arrogant. He's just like, they're like, oh, how does it feel to be at a LAN like this, a proper tournament? How do you feel? And he's like, yeah, of course, like it's expected, isn't it? Like, look at me. Do you know what I mean? I'm fucking Donk. It's just like, I'm just like, yeah, fair play, man. Fuck these guys. Why are they even asking you these questions? Like, they're wasting your time, Donk. You could be in deathmatch. You could be pushing rank. You could be in I don't know, Face It or something. And he's just like, I think he said, I played in tier 4 dumpsters. I played in tier 3 dumpsters. Now I'm at tier 1. Just like, mate, it's like, you're a legend. I'm putting you in every fantasy team I ever can. He's in my fantasy. I hope Spirit go and win it, because
how much was it? I'm sure it was expensive.
Hang on, yeah, he was fucking.
Is it the highest rated player?
Yeah,
Granted, he's not really played any tier 1 team, but
once you add them, I don't think
his
you can see.
1.37. But yeah, you probably can't see what
you can't see once you add it in. But it was definitely my most expensive. Yeah. But I just loved it, and I'm not taking anything away from it, because in the interview, it obviously was a bit more detailed than that. He talked about grinding 14 hours a day, and
like 15 hours. This was to get pro. He was saying he grinded like 15 hours a day to try and get pro.
Yeah, and he answered the right questions. So they're saying, oh, what do you want to achieve as a player? And he's talking about, the team's important, the usual bullshit. But there was also that like taste of, I'm fucking good at this game, so yeah, what do you want from me? So mate, I fucking rate him hard. Like, I think, I hope it continues. I hope he can just keep going up. And when you actually look at them as a team, they've just been, and it is thanks to him mainly. There's a couple of other guys in there that have been playing well, but he's just been smashing it. And Spirit have just climbed the ranks, and they're going to keep doing it. So I really hope. I'm going to go back on our Fury hype. I hope they beat Fury tomorrow. Hope they go on and win the tournament. It'd just be fucking great. I'd love them to end 2023 as like the team to watch out for in 2024. It'd be exciting. I'd love them to get into the top 10. Okay, so that's Bet Boom Darcher that we just kind of, or Datcher, I don't know how you say it, but we just kind of
segued over.
Segued over into that, haven't we? So we'll see how that goes. But right, what else have we got going on then? What about some roster news? We actually haven't spoken about rosters yet. So
right,
what we mainly talk about.
I can't remember what we mentioned on the last podcast about twists, how far we got with it.
Well, We mean last podcast. We mean last 4 podcasts. Okay, so Twists, they've confirmed he's left now.
Yeah, he put a little statement out. It was all very sad. I'm sure you had a tear being a FaZe fan.
I
You shed
tweeted
a
him.
tear.
I tweeted him.
And it was one of those when some players leave and everyone's like, "Fuck, see you later."
Fuck off.
And then some players leave and it's like, "You're a legend. You'll be missed."
So which one was this then?
Everyone was so nice.
Yeah,
Everyone was really, really
it's
nice
fucking Twist,
about it.
bro.
Yeah, and I feel like because they did so well, they seemed to get on really well. Do you think a little part of him, because he said this was already sorted
Yeah.
before they went on this little run. Do you think a part of him is a bit like, fuck, should have stayed?
Yeah, I don't know, man. Oh, I
Because
don't know.
the end of CS:GO, they were not
They
playing
were
well at all,
shit.
and I completely understand why you'd want to leave. Although, even though we gave them a bit of a hard time, that was more because they should be doing well. They
Yeah,
have got a good team. They should be doing well, and they weren't doing well. So obviously, if we're talking about Counter Strike, you're gonna say, "What the fuck are you doing? Why are you playing so shit? Why can't you pull yourselves together?"
yeah,
Because there's an expectation there. So when they started doing really well, I'm sure a part of him was a little bit sad. I think he described it as bittersweet, which
yeah.
I
It's a good
think is
way.
a good way.
Yeah, really good way to say it. Yeah, I think.
Um,
I think as an actual FaZe fan, as someone that actually does. Well, I need to rephrase this. I'm a Carrigan fan. Wherever Carrigan goes, I just fucking follow him. But as a FaZe fan, it is sad to see Twist go because he is a complete player. He seems a nice bloke. He seems very sensible. No drama. But and I think if he was going to go anywhere and he goes back to Liquid where he's won a Grand Slam, where he's found success, and to help out, almost help out might be wrong, but it feels like help out an organisation like Liquid, especially with the FaZe uncertainty as well and what's happening in FaZe, like that feels okay. I think if he went to like a Falcons, that would be a bit more like, oh, for fuck's sake, like why are you doing that? Do you know what I mean? So I think it's a good move. I think also we should note Liquid haven't actually confirmed this, but we assume it's happening. It's like the worst kept secret. I think everyone's going to respect Twist, man. Is a legend, isn't he? He's actually a legend in Counter Strike, and the geezer's like, how old's Twist? I don't even know,
he's only young,
mate.
20.
And he's a legend in Counter Strike. He's 24. He's 24. Okay, so fair play to him. Wish you the best
Yeah,
of luck. I like Liquid as an organisation. I've always liked that you can do a NAF. You know me, love a bit of NAF. This stoner sloth from fucking Canada. Let's go. Yeah, man. I think Liquid are. I hope they fucking come back and
really exciting team. I'm
definitely.
always happy to see competitive teams, which is part of the reason why I mentioned Fury and I want them to do well. I want as many competitive teams as possible. I don't want Vitality winning everything.
Exactly.
Speaking of which, while we're on the topic, so it's official, FaZe have signed Frozen.
Yeah.
I don't
She's
think it was official last time we
no,
did
no,
the
no.
podcast, but we did say it was happening.
Yeah, you said this is what's gonna happen. And actually, at that point, I didn't think I knew. You said it, and I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah,
Which
my
is
intel.
so the interesting thing about this, and why I think it should work, shouldn't be an issue, is obviously it brings back together Carrigan, Rops,
Mouse
and Frozen. Yeah, the Mouse
squad.
roster of whatever, whenever it was, I don't know, 2019 or something. Which, mate, they were a good team, man. They won like Pro League, like they were fucking quality. So unless something weird happens where Frozen can't quite, you know, when something's happened at teams, I don't know if it happens in basketball, it happens in football, right, and stuff, where like a good player just goes to another team and there's just something doesn't click, and it's like this should all work and click together, but for some reason it just doesn't. Unless that happens, mate, FaZe should just be carrying on as normal. It should be business as usual.
I think so, and I think it will. I think they'll do really well. It's like you say, they've played together before. I think sometimes this can happen with chemistry and the way teams kind of gel. Um, but the last time they played together, I mean, Frozen's younger than Twist. He's like 21 or something. He was like 16 when they played at Mouse together. He's basically a better version of what they used to play with.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think the fact that they kind of know each other will help. I think in esports you can get some characters that are maybe a bit more socially awkward and they aren't very good at, which is what we hear a lot. And it's like we touched on the last episode, chemistry is so important. I think the fact that these guys kind of know each other will really help. Um, and I think they'll be fine.
So a little fun fact for you: when I referenced that Pro League win that Rops, Carrigan, and Frozen had together at Mouse, um, they beat Fnatic in the final 3-0, best of five. Fnatic had Brolin, Crims, JW, Flusher, and Golden, and the Mouse roster was Rops, Frozen, Woxic, Christian, Carrigan. Carrigan still bottom fragging there. Um,
Better
Rops
trivia for
top.
you.
Things don't change in 4 years. But yeah, bit of a side note there. So
I
yeah,
mean, Carrigan owes Robs a lot.
yeah. So do we have any clue who Mouse are going to get next? Or do we have any inkling on that? Or... I don't.
No,
I
I
haven't even looked at
imagine
rumors or heard or thought. I haven't processed anything yet.
it depends. I was going to say, I imagine they get someone through their academy because they're very good at that.
Yep.
But will they think, now we've done enough of that. Let's
Just go for someone with a bit of. Well, I read that Frozen was the end of his contract, so they wouldn't have got much money for him.
okay.
It's a shame. It's a shame, man. For
Well,
Mouse,
was his contract finished, or it was just near
it
the end?
was towards the end from what forums
So they
are
would have still
saying.
paid for him, right?
Yeah, but not much. Not
I
much.
imagine, I mate, he's a good player. I imagine a lot of teams paid for him.
Yeah, but if he could have just waited out his contract and gone for free.
Exactly. So why wouldn't they wait out?
Don't know.
Because someone else would have bought him.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe.
Also, I mean, what we're talking about anyway? Because what's even happening with FaZe, no one knows.
No one does. No.
No. It's
I
not
think
even
if
like
they
we can
if
talk about it. 'Cause literally, we don't have a clue. Like I imagine, literally, FaZe, the FaZe organization don't have a clue what's going on.
no idea. No idea. One thing I did want to pick up on before we maybe ended this, because I don't know if you realised, but we've been talking quite a while for us. Um, the Into the Breach drama. I sent you this, right? So
Yeah.
another form of like another organization saying the other organization kind of acted snakily or did something wrong. This is like an Astralis part two, where basically Into the Breach, is he the CEO or the owner?
Yeah, it's the owner of the organization.
Sam Cook, so the CEO of Into the Breach, basically came out on Twitter and said, "We've signed Roland and Crucial back up for new contracts, and
Slimy cunts.
Who signed Cypher from Into the Breach, and fuck me, what are TSM doing? I mean, or I don't. Let's have a real quick look. Beat Zero Tenacity, whoever they are, lost to Godsent, lost to Sprout. Beat it.
Not been doing
They're
great.
not doing anything. Not doing anything. Anyway, so TSM with their new and improved, Bing roster, European roster, took Cypher from Into the Breach, and they've tried to take Roland and Crucial, basically create Into the Breach mini team, and Into the Breach CEO basically just said, "Fuck you. You've tried to poach them." He said, "Poach them, and it's not worked. Um, you're scumbags." Basically, is what effectively what he came out and said. Yeah.
Yeah. And Into the Breach tweeted, "Home sweet home, the family sticks together. Contracts renewed." But yeah, I think Into the Breach have a pretty good lineup at the minute. I mean, better than the one that I think they had at the major.
Really?
Um, yeah,
Okay.
uh, I think it's better. Um, I wasn't big on Cypher anyway. I think a little bit of a loose cannon.
Yeah,
I
you
know
weren't
everyone was
actually.
hyped him up at the major. I liked it. It was like they were throwing a spanner in the works. I felt like they were entertaining, but after it, when everyone was like, "Oh, where's Cypher gonna go?" Da, 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 I was like, "Really?" Like, yeah, he just seemed a little bit hectic. Like one of these guys just going mad, and if he killed like Zyra, everyone was like, "Oh wow!" But it's just
It was a bit like
probably
that. It was a bit.
it,
When you
it
look
was
back,
like,
it was a bit like hysteria, wasn't it?
yeah, it was like, well, Zyra was probably not expecting someone to do something that stupid. Like, so yeah, um,
That is it. That is it.
yeah,
It's like
that's
when you
that.
play those kind of team, those matches, and it's like, why the fuck are they doing that? Like, I wasn't expecting that. I had
Yeah,
my nade out, and he's rushed me with a Mac 10 or something, or MP9. Um,
yeah.
well, look, I think if Into the Breach have got the team together, and they've started building with some other players, they need the results need to reflect that because it's not been good enough. They're not they're not playing well, right? I mean, I haven't watched an Into the Breach roster,
Oh,
but
yeah. No, I mean they're not they're not good by any means, but I'm saying I think
well, hang on.
the current roster is probably better than the 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 major roster in a funny way.
Yeah, bro. In November, they lost to the Witchers, which is Smooter's team. Who I watched a game. I said to you, watched a bit of their game before this, when they were playing Rush B in an ECEA advanced season. They play Rush B, which is one of these random Russian teams. To be fair, you wouldn't know anyone, so you never know. Motherfuckers could be hacking for all we know. Um, they lost to them. This is the Witchers, which is Smooth's team, but they beat Into the Breach in November, and Endpoint beat Into the Breach, the UK team, who was 71st in the world, and we saw at I-71 lose to the Raptors, who aren't even an organisation anymore in the UK. Who are actually
Yeah.
interesting. Some of their players just got picked up. So, Into the Breach really need to up their game. You can't be. Those are the games like if you the old Into the Breach. You say this is a better team. I mean, results.
Well, to be honest, I need to backtrack.
Who are you going to now? Aren't
They
you?
bet
Got now have laid
uh,
down the law.
I think they're better on paper. Like their players individually are better on paper. But it's like we were saying earlier, you never know how chemistry is going to be and how they're actually going to play together. But on paper, I would say, yeah, these are a better lineup the previous. But
Okay.
it doesn't mean they're gonna perform better as a team. Like communication and chemistry and all that does play a massive part. But yeah, they're not exactly a good team. Like the new Fnatic team, I'm happy for it. I don't hate it, but they're not gonna be winning. They're not gonna be in the top 10.
No. Um. Okay. Well, let's move on. What else do we have
Well,
on our notes here? Oh, G2 lost as well.
yeah, I was gonna say currently we've got the CCT online finals. G2 got absolutely destroyed by Aurora.
Why wouldn't they?
I, I mean, stupid game. Bring JKS back. That's what I say.
Oh,
It was
yeah.
it was 13-6 on Ancient and 13-2 on Nuke. Why they picked Nuke is anybody's guess. But they got rolled.
Wait, well, they only beat Fluxo and Sprout before 2-1. Which,
Yeah,
I mean, you'd expect them to 2-0 Fluxo probably. Sprout maybe would give you a bit more of a game. Might be 2-1 there. And then they lost to Aurora. So, yeah. I mean,
Vincent.
right. One thing I have felt is I don't think Nico. I've not watched any of these games. I'm just going off the stats and keeping an eye on some game on the numbers. I don't think Nico's liking CS2. I don't think he is. I don't feel like he's been as comfortable or as able to adapt as like a Monasi, as Zywu clearly showed recently, and I think he's going to be fine. Or I don't know who else with Rops, Twists. I think Nico's not enjoying CS2, so watching it with interest, but I think this might be a rude awakening that the grass isn't green and we should have just stuck with JKS. But we were still wondering, what did JKS do wrong? Like, the guy was just fine. Like, he was so consistent. And
Yeah, no, I agree. They say, I mean, there's rumours that he was too quiet and it was his comms and stuff, but I don't know how much of that is true. Will we ever know?
What does it matter as
No.
well if you're winning and he's performing and he was doing his job and they were winning, right? So
Yeah, I mean,
why?
I have no idea, mate. Unless it's some pay or something. I have no idea. But just back to Nico, his rating over the last 3 months is 1.08.
It's not good enough for a Nico. And again, that's just like an expectation thing, isn't it? Of a Nico, you
It is. It's like, yeah, like we were saying with FaZe before, like you expect from Nico. We're not saying he's trash, and I do think he can get there. He's just in a bit of a slump at the minute, and it's like you just did. He might blame CS2, and which would be the obvious thing to blame. But personally, I don't think the game is that far away from CS:GO, whereas you can blame it. I mean, people might call me ridiculous, but I just don't think that's the case. I think if we were still on CS:GO, you'd be like, "Oh, he's in a bit of a slump," and I think that's all it is. And I think maybe CS2 is playing on his mind more than anything, but I don't think that it's a massive concern to me. I think it just takes time. The biggest issue for me was the fact that they got rid of JKS. Like, I think he's a really good, like, fourth player. Like,
yeah,
that's the type of guy you want as your fourth best player.
absolutely. I completely agree. Well, let's see. We'll watch that with interest. They're going to be playing at the Blast Premier World Finals, which are next week. That's probably the last big thing we're going to see before the end of the year. So we look forward to that. That starts next week.
G2 are playing your Guild Eagles.
Are they? What, in those CCT?
Tomorrow.
Right, come on, the Eagles. So Eagles will probably be like the highlight of the year.
I've seen your Gucci squad around somewhere.
Oh, what the Gucci boys doing? The Gucci gang. Oh, it's time, guys. You know what time it is on the podcast. It's time for Gucci gang. Oh no, Gucci Academy. What are they called? Gucci Academy.
Yeah.
Gucci gang. Yeah, let's have a quick look. Gucci watch.
Yeah, because they're winning.
They're on a 10-win streak. The boys, the fucking boys.
They've got a 90.9 win rate.
in the last 3 months. But these guys are here to take over. They're here to, since our last podcast, they're just winning. They're bored of it. They beat RGW, never heard of. Simple Force, I've never heard of. French teams. They just beat a load of French teams in the Paris tournament. Absolutely no idea. And what was the point in them winning that? I have no clue, but they're fucking the boys. Right, I think that's going to be us for this week, okay? We're touching an hour. We've talked about a lot of things. Next week we're getting to the festive period. We're getting to Christmas, and we'll talk about this off air. Is your t-shirts French as well? Is it?
Yeah, it's like some Jordan Paris logo thing.
There you go, Gucci gang destroying Jordan and Paris. So we need to talk about what we're doing. We are going to, and I'll put this out then. If I put it on recording on the podcast, it means we've got to do it. We're going to do end of year casuals, end of year awards. Okay, yeah. So whether that's a podcast or a video, don't know. We've got to work it out. Next week's a bit mental. pretty much out every night. We're at the festive season in my industry. I'm basically on the piss all week. But we're going to do an end of year awards, and it will be a load of awards for people we think deserve it in the game, and no one will care if they've won the award, but we will award them. Yeah.
We'll give them, whether they like it or not, they're getting it.
And we're gonna fucking email them, even if it's like a player. We're gonna email them or tweet them and say you've won this award. The casuals have voted you. So Carrigan should expect lots of tweets from us. Anyway, thank you for listening, guys. It's been a pleasure. Good podcast. See you guys on the flip side.
Yeah.